U.S. ambassador to Japan will publicly eat Fukushima fish amid radioactive water release outrage.
Here's a summary of the article.
Japan began releasing more than 1 million metric tons of radioactive water from a wrecked nuclear power plant on Thursday, prompting widespread concerns over contamination and safety. The decision to release the wastewater has been a controversial one, sparking protests in Japan and further afield in South Korean capital Seoul from anti-nuclear activists and those concerned about contamination. Protesters gathered in Japan and South Korea this week to push back against the release of the radioactive water, with much of the concern centering around possible contamination, particularly of seafood. In a bid to assuage lingering concerns over Japanese seafood, the U.S. ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel, said in an interview on Thursday that he would publicly eat seafood from Fukushima to demonstrate his confidence in its safety. Emanuel told Japan's Kyodo news agency that he would visit Fukushima on August 31 to physically show support and then to express confidence in the process that Japan has methodically pursued. In July, a public survey found that 62% of South Koreans would cut back or stop eating seafood after the water was discharged, according to news agency Reuters, despite Seoul pledging to closely monitor the release. In recent weeks, some consumers in China, Japan's biggest export market for seafood, also questioned whether it would be safe to eat the country's seafood products after the water was released into the ocean.
This post received a score of 8,800, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I read this somewhere that you are 2,000 times more likely to get cancer if you live within 2 kilometers of a coal power plant. Nobody bats an eye to that.
Workers at Grand Central Station in NYC are exposed to more radiation during the year than your average nuclear plant worker.
Radon is a rare gas that diffuses out of soil and into the air. It contributes more than half of our background exposure. The tobacco leaf acts like the absorbing surface of charcoal in a radon test kit. It collects long-lived isotopes of airborne radon, like lead-210 and polonium.
Explains so much about Congress among S.
Lobbyism explains Congress, not trace radioactivity.
Hence, S.
For the last decade, scientists from all over the world have been collectively working on this problem to make the water safe. The water is literally seawater with a little extra tritium. Tritium itself being naturally accruing anyway. But tritium is radioactive. However, it's weak beta radiation, same thing as bananas. You would need to consume a huge amount of seawater, or bananas, to experience any side effects from it.
Wait, that's it. Just tritium. Damn bro, people are scared of that, then they go to bake themselves under the sun.
Yep, not to mention all the watches with tritium in them so you can see it in the dark. Literally a stick of tritium, and it hasn't been a problem. People don't understand that removing these heavy-ass elements from water is fairly easy. Containing the waste is another thing. It's like removing large rocks from water, they practically fall out. Pun intended.
Simpsons did it.
Here's your headline, Phil. Burns can't swallow own story. I was today years old finding out Rahm Emanuel is the US ambassador to Japan. When I think of Japan, the poster child I think of is Rahm Emanuel.
Exactly. Looked at the thumbnail and thought, is that Rahm fucking Emanuel?
Greater than? Is that? Rahm fucking Emanuel? That's one in a series of Emanuel films.
There's quite a few idiots in this thread. The release of the water is not dangerous. Do some damn research before spewing nonsense.
A slow release of the water into a huge body to dilute it is literally the safest possible solution. Keeping it held indefinitely has a huge risk of something happening. Like, I don't know, an earthquake or tsunami. That causes it to go into the groundwater instead, where it will be much more dangerous to local populations.
The solution to pollution is dilution. Being a chickagone, Rahm Emanuel would be intimately familiar with that saying.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.